So I know what you're thinking. It's Glensday. Why are we looking at Mike's ugly mug? Well, Glenn decided to take a vacation for some reason. It's not like he doesn't work every day. He's so lazy. Glenn, you're lazy. You're lazy, Glenn. Taking a week off, going to the mountains? Okay. In order for me to take over Glenn's day, I asked Glenn what movie I should watch. He recommended a movie he knew I hadn't seen that I've been kind of avoiding, but also not avoiding, just haven't gotten around to see it. Schindler's List. Now, a few months ago, you might remember me saying that I have only cried ever in 2 movies, a single tear for each movie, 2 movies. I have only shed 2 tears between all the movies I've watched.
Was 1 tear each for 2 movies, or was it like...
It was 2 movies. 2 movies, 1 tear.
Half tear.
2 movies, 1 tear. That has since doubled. For Fury, which I had already seen, so I don't know why I didn't cry the first few times. And then for Schindler's List. I don't know why I've been crying more movies lately. Maybe it's the increasing awareness that every day I'm getting closer and closer to 30. Making my way inch by inch into the bleak nothingness. The abyss. The reality of my inevitable mortality is sinking in. The end. Anyway. So, yeah, this was my first time watching Schindler's List. I know what you're thinking. How have you not seen Schindler's List yet? Did you know it's 3 hours and 13 minutes long without credits? 3 hours, 13 minutes long without credits? Ain't nobody got time for that. It's just one of those movies. I was 4 when it came out. You know, what 4-year-old wants to go see a movie about the Holocaust? I don't know. The thing that stood out to me about this movie is that it focused on the little acts of demoralization over the, huge acts of killing, mass murder, and all that. There's this one scene that stood out to me. It was towards the very beginning, where there's these Nazi officers who are, harassing a Hasidic Jew, and I don't want to call them curls because I don't know what they're called. So according to this, they're called payats. Payats. There's like 1,000 different pronunciations here depending on your region. Anyway, they're the little curls on the sideburn area that Hasidic Jews wear. These Nazi officers were harassing a Hasidic Jew and cut them off, and that was, it was a little thing, yes, but a very dehumanizing thing and a very disrespectful thing that you don't hear about too often because 6 million people died during the Holocaust, so those stories go by the wayside. It adds to the terrible acts that the Nazis caused or committed in the Holocaust. So that really stuck with me. Even though this movie's 3 hours and 13 minutes long without credits, the first hour flew by. I was watching it, and I was like, I'm just out of curiosity, I was just curious how far I was into it. I was going to guess maybe 15 minutes into it. It was an hour into it when I first decided to look. And that just amazed me, because it's 3-hour movies are often very overly long. They draw things out too much. Deer Hunter's a good example. Deer Hunter's a fantastic movie, but the first hour is just absolute. It's not, I don't want to say it's not needed, but the way it's cut together just makes it feel so long. But this movie, the first hour, kind of went in a blink. It's just so much is happening in the first hour that you don't realize how much time is passing, and that was brilliant. That was one of Spielberg's best sequences in that sense, because it did only feel like 15 minutes, but it was an hour long. And then after that happened, it was just 2 hours and 13 minutes left, and that's kind of a normal movie. So it's definitely amazing that he was able to do that. This movie starts with Schindler's selfish beginnings, where it's all about business for him. He doesn't really care about the people who are working for him, but he knows it's cheap labor. In fact, it's slave labor. So that was interesting. I never knew that was how it started. I always thought that he was just a good man that made a choice to help these people from the get-go. But it really started as a business venture for him and nothing else but a business venture. And then getting to know these people evolved into him wanting to save them. And it was just a cool little piece of information I didn't know. And the arc of Liam Neeson's Oscar Schindler character was perfect. It had a beginning, middle, end, all that, and you could see how he transitioned throughout the entire movie. One of the standouts of this movie is Ray Fiennes' character of Commander, I think, Commander Goeth, the German officer in charge of the camp. And he was a very sinister man. You know, he killed for fun, and he legitimately enjoyed killing these people for no reason in particular. And they really showed that from the get-go. It was one of the most intense character introductions ever, is the first scene that he's in. I don't want to give too much away, but you know exactly right away who's the bad guy. And it was just heartbreaking to watch that someone would ever be like that to another human being. But Ray Fiennes was so great in his role that it was a really compelling character that you hated him, but as a performance, it was just, you couldn't take your eyes away. It was just something, he was so captivating in a terrible, terrible way, but you couldn't take your eyes away. You were just on him the entire time he was on screen. The only part that I had seen of this movie until now was the scene with the girl in the red coat. For those of you who have seen this movie, it's definitely one of the most profound scenes of it. But really, out of context, I didn't understand it. I watched it in a cinematography class where they were talking about the importance of color and the use of color for an emotional impact. And out of context is just kind of, I mean, it's a good scene, but it's not overly powerful. But then when I was watching it now, and I knew when it was going to come up, and even so, seeing her come around the corner, and the first time you see red, it had such a powerful impact, and I finally understood what they were talking about. It was definitely one of the most powerful scenes, and overall, just a powerful movie. The one complaint I have about it, and it's not even anything to do with the movie, it's because of Jerry Seinfeld. The entire time I was watching it, the only thing I could think of was that episode of Seinfeld where Jerry and his girlfriend made out during Schindler's List, and all I heard the entire time was his mom going, "You made out during Schindler's List?" That's all I could think of throughout the entire thing. It took a lot within me to just, you know, tune that out and focus on it. But anyway, yeah, that's the movie for Glensday this week. It was an extremely powerful movie. I'm glad that I finally got around to watching it. It's definitely one of Spielberg's best, if not his best movie. So I'm going to rate this a 9 out of 10. It's just, if you haven't seen it, I couldn't recommend it enough. It's a fantastic movie. So yeah. Have fun at the mountains, Glenn. Thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. Don't forget to subscribe and all that. If you've seen Schindler's List, comment down below what you thought. If you've seen that episode of Jerry Seinfeld, tell me if you made out during Schindler's List. I hope not, because that would be terrible. There is no part of this movie that you should make out during. It's just terrible. Over there, that's going to be last week's Glensday, which was, don't mind me, Warrior. Over there is last week's Glensday, which was Warrior. Over there is going to be my last week Recommondays, or this week's Recommondays, which is for Prisoners. So check that out. Below my face is Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Definitely check that out. Thanks again for watching. Bye.